Equal Voice is looking for a breakthrough. Equal Voice wants to change the way Canadians are governed. And when I became Prime Minister of Canada, many people felt that this was a breakthrough. And I wish it had been. I wish I had been the thin edge of a wedge which had grown into, female prime ministers hanging from the rafters. But alas, that is not the case.
I've had a lot of firsts, and I would have been happy to be the 10th or the 20th. And there's certainly no shame to be the 20th woman Prime Minister of Canada. I would love to live to see it, frankly. I'm afraid I'm already too elderly to do that. But I think what's important is that I didn't come from a privileged background. I don't come from a wealthy family. I came from a family that valued education. I came from a city far away from the political heartland of my country. Vancouver is a long way from Ottawa. But I was able to make a successful political career in my own way. And there's no one way to do it. Hi, I'm Kim Campbell, former Prime Minister of Canada.
I think it was when I was at university that I began to see that there was a difference in status. Sometimes people ask me about my political career and how it was different from that of boys. I didn't get involved in campus political party clubs because they weren't very congenial to girls.
To be perfectly honest, I can't say that I was inspired by any one particular person to go into public life. It was kind of a gradual thing. My first husband was a member of the Vancouver School Board, and when he decided to run for City Council, his colleagues came and asked me to run for school board. So I decided that I would run to see whether I could take it, see whether I could take the criticism, whether I was suited to it. So I ran for school board, he ran for City Council. We both won, but I did get more votes than he did. So, and I ran under my own name.
There may be, perhaps, writ large, statistical differences between the sexes in certain kinds of categories. But whatever that may be, there is no scientific, reasonable reason to deny a talented woman who has demonstrated capacity the opportunity to achieve.
There's also a sense that many women have that it's a very confrontational, adversarial culture that they're not attracted to. I think if there were more women there and women could see it as a way of making their societies better, they would run. That what really matters is that you care about the process, you care about making your society better, and you choose this particular way to do that.
In the corporate world, we know that gender development improves profitability of companies. There's clear empirical evidence that shows this. And so Norway and Spain, Norway was the pioneer, but Spain has followed, have now passed laws requiring that 4 out of every 10 directors on corporate boards in their country be women. We're not waiting for people to say, oh, it would be nice, and we'll go on a website and see if we can find a database, and we'll ask the same woman to be on 92 boards because she's the only one whose name that we know. 4 out of 10.
If the corporate world is slow in bringing women on their boards, even though research shows that they'll be more profitable, you say, well, wait a minute. The arguments you give for doing this or doing that is because, well, it's the bottom line, we have to, satisfy the shareholders. Well, fiddle-dee-dee, your shareholders are being cheated because you guys keep hiring people who look like you. You can't break out of the envelope. And here's solid research that shows that you'd actually make more money, so forget it. And that's why I'm saying in terms of politics, we have to stop saying, oh, wouldn't it be nice if, wouldn't it be good if, and if we could, no, 50% are women. Now women, meet the challenge. Get off your duffs.
Women in Canada pay over $44 billion every year in personal income tax, more than men pay. Not 44 billion, but they pay more than men. So no taxation without representation, ladies.
Unless you try things that you can fail at, you'll never know what you're good at. Unless you push yourself, unless you experience defeat and failure, you'll never know how strong you are. And your intelligence actually grows as you work it. And so whatever challenges you face of accomplishment, not every child should think about becoming a politician, but they should think about being engaged in the life of their society. They should think of trying to achieve excellence in something that they love, something that they can make a contribution. Anything that can be a voyage of self-discovery is a wonderful thing. Like when I started politics, I thought, I don't know whether I can take the criticism that comes from the press or people yelling at me. And what I found was that I could, and it's not that I have a thick skin, I'm as sensitive as the next person, but I understood that it was part of the process.
If we go at the rate we're going now, it'll be another 4 generations before women are 50% in Parliament. And that's assuming that there aren't terrible intervening variables that will arise because women are not there saving the world from itself. And now you may say to me, Kim, but women are so great, and if we have so many women in politics, might they not lose those very qualities that they have that make them different, and won't they just become like the men if they're in the corporate world and if they're in Parliament? And well, if that happens, sue me. I'm prepared to risk it.
One of my maxims as a politician was always that politics is not an abstract exercise. It's about real flesh and blood human beings who are affected by what you do. And one of the greatest joys of political life is the opportunity to go out and meet the people you serve. The community opens up to you. You learn the things about your community. You meet people. It's actually a very encouraging thing. You meet people who are living heroic lives under very difficult circumstances. And that's what gives you the humanity to try your hardest to make the best decisions, to know you're never going to please everybody, but to know you have to listen, you have to make a judgment call, and then you make a decision and you stand by it, and at the end of the day the voters decide whether they like it or not. And so I hope that today's young generation have the skills to communicate not just in the country but around the world, and to have a global vision and to be aware of what's going on. And I think they care a lot about issues like climate change and the environment and all that kind of stuff. But I hope that that doesn't undermine the kind of human-to-human contact, which is also essential for creating the mindset that will make democracy survive.
We need to create a political system for all, a parliament where women are not just represented, but where finally, and once and for all, we have an equal voice. It's up to you. Thank you.